This episode of the Coarse Grind Podcast has been sponsored in part by Irving Cliff Brewery. If you're in Northeast Pennsylvania and you're looking for some of the finest craft beer around, look no further than the Irving Cliff Brewery, located at 2 Chapel Street in lovely historic Honesdale. With an attention to detail that feels high-end and small-town comfort, Irving Cliff Brewery does beer, and they do it very, very well. Irving Cliff Brewery, 2 Chapel Street, Honesdale, PA 18431. Now on to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is episode number 32 of the Coarse Grind Podcast. What was I doing when I was 32? I have no idea. Honestly, I don't have any idea what I was doing yesterday either, so no big deal. Episode 32 with you as always, host, creator, Shawn Rosler. How are you doing this evening? You know, there's an old saying. Actually, wait, I'm lying. It might be an old saying, but I saw it on a meme the other day. Kevin Spacey, to be exact, was on it, and the phrase read, "If you're lucky enough to do well, it's your responsibility to send the elevator back down." You know, it's an easy thing to succeed at something and pass everyone else by, to not care, just vibe on your own shit, whatever. But when a friend of a friend or relative of a friend of a I forget how it went, but anyway, you get it, was pointed in my direction as the, quote, go-to guy for podcast how-to. Well, first I requested that person that pointed her my way be drug screened, but secondly, I set up a call as quickly as I could, much the same way as my old friend turned producer showed me the ropes early on, Johnny Leland Robinson, for the win. We chatted, and suffice it to say, we hit it off immediately. She had some ideas, and I had some for her in turn. When the conversation was just about wrapping up, inspiration struck. On-air discussion. It couldn't be scheduled quickly enough, but apparently had to coincide with her non-kickboxing night so that she wasn't still in kill mode whilst killing a bottle or three. So here we are. A couple drinks in already, I'm sure. Me too. I hope. So let's not waste any more time and do this thing. I'm sending the elevator back down. I want to hear about this idea. I want to make this idea happen. Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, my guest this evening, a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, fellow wine glutton, and one of the few people who can verbally keep up with me, but we'll see. Ms. Kristina Steward. Kristina, how are we doing this evening?
Where is the clap track? Shawn! Shawn! This is where the magic happens. My God.
No, the magic happens down the hallway. You know, it's that kind of thing. Again, the Three Kids reference. How you doing this evening, dear?
I'm really good, bud. I'm really good. I'm excited to wax on philosophical with you, I think.
Wax on philosophical. We better not wax off or we'll go blind philosophical.
Or something to that effect.
See how that goes. So for those of you listening at home, whether you were a listener previously or not, we're going to be going off the script tonight. This is the first time in podcast history, episode 32, we're going to kind of steer off it a little bit because, let's be honest, Kristina, you're not a professional cook of any kind?
Not that I last checked.
Nor do you currently work in the food industry.
That is correct, my friend.
So, wait a minute. Another classification of guest. You're not currently selling any kind of food-based product to a mass populace.
Another check.
Okay, so that's why we are actually going to go off. Tonight, it is about idea hashing. I do want to know some of the questions that I've asked previous guests because I think it's going to help us land on a better idea. But before we go any further, I want to know, where did you grow up? And when did communication, talking, being heard, become an important thing to you?
Wow. Okay. So you really are good at this, Shawn. I mean, I must admit, I was a little bit trepidatious.
I'm
some people said
out now. I won't remember half this shit in the morning.
Me too.
So just I am me the compliments, and I'll read them in the morning.
Well, I got to tell you, I mean, I'm an East Coast gal at heart, always. So I grew up in Alexandria, a little cute little town right outside of Washington, D.C., Old Town Alexandria. And as soon as I came out of mom, I was like, here I am, world. I'm ready to talk, you know? So from there, I kind of traveled the world a little bit and explored and found my way in Colorado for university, and then Chicago, and Manhattan beckoned me for 5 years, and now I've kind of made a full circle. Well, I mean, there's a little bit of Europe scattered around in there as well. I'm back in the old capital, Washington, D.C., as we speak, my friend.
Right on. Right on. Any particular reason back in Washington, D.C.?
I think it's just time to kind of get back to the roots a little bit. And I really have the most kick-ass family and friends, and I've just been wanderlusting for enough time to say, hey, why don't I take it back to where it all started and see what happens. And I have to tell you, Shawn, it's kind of been one of the best decisions I've ever made. I think I'll always travel because that's the spice of life, but this seems to be a very good transition.
For sure.
I mean, here we are. We're talking, right? Look at that.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, keep it in mind, Washington, D.C., very culturally diverse, very different, very everything. I'm in Bloomsburg.
Right.
That's like the scene in Wayne's World. Hey, we're in Delaware. What do you say? Now, that's not, I'm sorry, that's very disparaging to a livening up culinary scene, which it certainly is. But obviously...
Let me throw it back to you. Why have you not visited DC? There's a great new foodie world to discover.
No, I have. Perhaps you're familiar with The Children that leech every single ounce of energy from me on a daily basis.
Right.
But to be honest, the last time I was in DC, outside of visiting my friend Nair, was with my mom in high school, and we drove down there and we checked into our hotel. And as we were checking in, we saw flashing reds and blues outside, and there was a shooting right outside our hotel. So I've kind of steered clear. I'll be honest.
Local color.
Yes, indeed. So, but that's not to say, obviously, DC. They just did. What season of Top Chef was DC?
I think it was like 2 or 3 ago, right?
Yeah, it was 2 or 3 ago. It should be noted, listeners, that Miss Kristina is a Top Chef head like myself.
No doubt.
Significantly. So
more Bravo than anything.
Yeah, Bravo in general. I can get down with that. I actually missed Mr. Cohen, which you've informed me that you used to either ride the train or live down the street from.
I lived like a couple blocks away. I was a West Villager, and our dogs kissed noses quite a few times, actually.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'm sure he loved that.
He did. He's a fine fella. So you and Andy are becoming like besties? Is that what's happening here?
Fabulous. No, not really. Maybe at some point. But I actually
throw in your back pocket. I mean, this is good.
Like I said, I missed the chance to meet him because I left the conference the day that Tim Gunn spoke. And look at me fucking name dropping how many minutes into this shit.
I mean, this is kind of a funny story, Shawn. I'll give you a little tidbit.
Yeah.
So I was in a gay bar, not a gay lady, but was in a gay bar with some of my gay fabulous friends. And Mr. Cohen was in this gay bar. It's the Cubby Hole, #Cubby Hole, in the West Village. And we saw each other, and there's nothing really to get starstruck about. I mean, that's kind of a little bit cheesy, I think. But I saw him and I said, I would be so remiss. Yes, remiss, my friend. Did you see how I almost messed up remiss because I had a couple of glasses of vino?
Marist. I mean, either way.
I was totally Marist. And I went up to him and I said, oh my God, you smell so good. And he said, you have the most beautiful eyes I've ever seen. What? Sign me up for this program. What's happening here? This is fantastic. Yeah. No, he's lovely. He's really lovely. And if you ever cross his path, Shawn, you will adore him as well. Seriously. Well,
and I told you that when I got the chance, thanks to my colleagues at Penn State, to meet Mr. Gunn, I walked up and my hands were shaking, everything. But my first striking point on him was, you could have cut yourself on his creases. They were delicious. And when he hugged me to calm me down, I walked up and
smell. Honestly, how good do you smell?
I remember trying to tell him, I said, Mr. Gunn, I just want you to know how much and he reaches out, grabs my hand, goes, Shawn, now you're making me nervous. Come on, let's hug. Let's calm down. And I mean, instantly. And so, thing one I noticed, obviously the creases. Put together like I can't even tell you what.
Impeccable.
But the cologne, I can't find that. You couldn't, like, make juice out of babies and have it smell that good. So, anyway, so we apparently have our gay male, but we're not gay ourselves story.
Always. I mean, how can you not? Right. I mean, this is that podcast, isn't it?
No, this is the one about food. But we can just
wait. Oh my God, I answered the wrong phone call.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. We can let it go for once. So,
Shawn, am I keeping you on your toes? Are you? I mean, you're doing pretty well.
No. I'm kind of swinging soft. I'm waiting to ask the biological father question you talked about before. So you do all this globe trotting, and obviously there's good food, good drink, there's good people, all the world around. What part of that Trinity, of the Holy Trinity, if you had to name one, and it can literally be from day one growing up to now, would you consider the most important? Is it food, drink, or people?
Oh, it's people.
Why?
Definitely.
Why?
Because it's always the people that you have around you or with you, or the strangers that you meet on your travel that add the flavor to what's going to happen next, the conversation, why you want to have another glass of wine, why you would want to invite this person to your table. I think traveling is just a big part of meeting really unique, interesting people. That's how I kind of my experience has always been, where even in New York, Shawn, you go places, I mean, you have your friends, you have your boyfriend. Sometimes I just kind of want to be that girl that just goes out and has a rando conversation with some strangers. And that might sound scary, ladies and gents, but it's absolutely not. It's kind of nice to go somewhere, sit at a bar at a really nice place in New York City or wherever you're at in any city or anywhere really, right? You can go to a dive bar, I'd imagine, and just have a really great conversation with some unique people. I mean, you never know what's going to happen next.
Tony Bourdain and I have one thing in common, and it is the fandom behind the dive bar.
Right.
That is where you're going to find not the underbelly of humanity. Everyone's like, oh, it's horrible. You're going to find the section of humanity that needs that spot. And you're going to learn a story about yourself. Like, you and I both, I mean, we're doing okay. And that's why I like to go into some of these places and hear the stories that come out. Because they're stories. Everyone's got a story. Everyone's got something to say. I love, whenever I'm traveling in an airport, strike up a conversation. Find out. Find out where that person's going. Find out where that's... there's so much to be learned. We're such introverts. I don't know whether we're learned introverts. I think we must be. I think we're trained to be. But, I mean, come on. Ask the person next to you, so what'd you have? Yeah. Start there.
Right. I mean, some of my best conversations, and my loved ones are probably going to be a little bit hurt about this, have been with random people I've met on adventures or travels. I mean, you just never know what's going to happen next in that conversation. And there's something to be said for that, right, Shawn? So you're sitting there.
Breeds contempt.
Exactly. You got it, Toots. There's something about talking to a stranger. I mean, look at us when we just, we had a little tete-a-tete-tete when we didn't even know each other. We were introduced by a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend.
Friend of a friend of a family member, friend of a friend of a friend of a friend. Right. Got it.
And there it is.
Yep.
I mean, isn't that kind of why you're doing this, outside of your love for food and your love for all things that world? You're doing it because you're a great talker.
Yeah. I'm a mediocre talker at best.
No, you're pretty good talker.
I'll
give you credit where credit's due. You're a good talker.
I'm a 6.5. We'll be honest. I mean, I'm 10 looks wise, please, but I'm a 6.5 talker. But the handful of reasons I did this for was, one, it was the whole concept of just helping.
Yeah.
Because I think so often, and I mean, we can look at this professionally. We can say, hey, job-wise, people are dicks. People don't, share their work. Not to share a title of one of my best professional friends' books, but people don't share professionally. We're so afraid of losing our thing. I don't give a shit. You tell me, hey, I want to do a podcast. I'm in. How can I help you? Right. I've been doing it for 2 years and 30 episodes. How do I help?
Where's the clap track again?
It should be. It should be there. I mean, episode 30. Listen to it. I'm not even going to name the guy's name. Listen to it. But, so that was one thing. But the other thing to me, definitely about, our mutual amigo, Mark Osavala, just saying, hey, this girl's trying to start a podcast.
He just got so happy right there. He just got so happy right there, Shawn.
I'm sure he did. Marco Savala. There you go. God, if I say his name a third time, he'll appear at our door. So let's.
I know. I'm a little nervous about that. Yeah.
He was texting with my 8-year-old this morning. Let's be honest. That's a little awkward, but anyway.
He's the sweetest guy ever. He's best friends with my cousin, right? Both my cousins.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's a doll. He's practically like he is an uncle to those kids. But so, he says to me, hey, this girl wants to do a podcast. But then, in turn,
I don't think he said this girl. I think he said this most amazing human being that I've encountered with, who's my cousin, the cousin of my best friend. I think that's how it came to fruition, right? Wasn't there a little bit more? Wasn't there a little bit more?
I didn't. Hang on a minute. Let me check the copy here. No, we didn't have that. But like just the fact that it was in 31 episodes, never done before. I'm like, it's an unknown. Yeah. It's like sitting next to the guy here. Here you go. This is huge. I had a great conversation in a restaurant.
Did you just have a breakthrough? You had a breakthrough right there. I feel like there's a light bulb moment.
No. I made it to the bathroom. I'm not worried. About 2 years ago, I was traveling, and I sat next to, in a restaurant, a Sikh with a turban. Mm-hmm. And, drinking water or soda, I forget which, but obviously, and I'm getting ready to fly, so I'm like, shit, line them up. And I turned, and I looked at him, and I said, how's it going, man? Oh, good. We talked for maybe 10 minutes. Not a lot, but enough. But it's that conversation, like, I'm not going to have in Bloomsburg, so I better take advantage of that moment. So when Marco Savala, there's the third time. I swear to God, if he shows up,
oh my God,
I'm going to die.
Mark, oh my God, come on in.
When he says to me, I've got this cool chick, wants to do a podcast, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, send her my way. Not only send her my way, let me talk to her. And then here we are. So
it's very, very cool. I mean, for me, it's kind of one of those things where it's just it's happenstance. It was pure, I don't know, universal energy. Mm-hmm. Where Mark said, hey, I think you two would vibe personality-wise. Why don't you just shoot the shit a little bit and get to know what Shawn's doing? I mean, this thing for me, this podcast, Shawn, it's not like I'm trying to... I just want to have great conversations with really interesting people. I've met cast of characters along the way, and I have really amazing friends and family. And I think it'd be kind of fun to just, entertain people and have these fun conversations. It's a grassroots thing. It's nothing that I've put any real thought into, except the fact that I really like to talk. And I think that I'd be good at sitting down and having a fun conversation. I mean, this podcast might not be the preemptive strike that I'm looking for, although I'm having a lot of fun. I think that why put pressure on it? I mean, life is short, Yeah. Let's sit down, let's have some wine, let's shoot the shed, and let's make the magic happen.
It's totally a litmus test. As I think, it's funny because our conversation on the phone not too long ago, was about an hour, and it was at like the 57-minute point that I looked at some copy I had done up for one of the Top Chef guests this season, and I went, wait a minute, we could talk this out on air. and let people hear a creative process at work. Like, people, if you're looking for pretty, this ain't it. It ain't pretty, but it can be good and it can be productive. But you've got to be willing to talk to, honestly, a total stranger. One of my friends from college early on, Rich Uliash, who's a video guy for MSNBC, he put me in contact with a copyright lawyer just because he knew I was looking for it. And how many people would shy down from that and be like, oh, I can't call them. I don't know them. No. I picked up the phone. I was on the phone with this Manhattan lawyer, hardcore ass lawyer too, for a good 25 minutes, being told for about 23 and a half of them everything I was doing wrong. But when I hung up the phone, I had this wealth of knowledge. And that's what a podcast is about. That's what a podcast in general is about. These people, these 31 now, up until this point, now it's 32 people, everybody has a different life track. And if you think for a second you can't learn a shit ton of things from every single person you pass in the street, you're sadly mistaken. You're going to be sad in general. And you need to wake up and realize, like, there is so much going on around you. And that's what I think. That's one of the greatest things I've realized, and I'm hoping you realize too, as you begin to do yours, while you have these friends that you want to have on, bring in some strangers to the fold.
Always.
And watch it happen.
Yeah. Does that sound weird to say bring in some strangers into the fold?
Well, no. It didn't quite sound like getting a stranger. That's when you do the left hand. I'm ambidextrous, so, I can't. Anyway.
So let me bring it back to you for a second. So what drew you to realize...
she's getting a podcast now. She's like, let me ask the question, Shawn.
I mean, come on,
Shut up, Shawn. All right, go ahead. Hit me.
Shawn, why did you say to yourself, okay, this could be good. This could be kind of one of those situations where Kristina and I just, we talk, there's nothing scripted about this whatsoever. I mean, it might not even be entertaining to most. I mean, I hope. I mean, my voice is pretty sexy. I could go a lot lower. But Shawn, seriously, what was it that you said, hey, I want to have her on and just and talk a little bit about what's happening here and how a podcast is created in a vision and bada boom, bada bing, everything.
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly why. And it is probably the most endearing reason to the only other person I, quote unquote, officially have on staff on this show. And John, if you're listening.
Hey, John.
And I hope you are. I'm going to tell you something. John, what you did for me 2 years ago in making me realize, like, okay, I've got a platform, I've got something I can do, showing me the ropes, that is the exact reason Kristina is now talking to me and we're doing a show about it. Because if you're not sharing, I mean, you're nothing. You're nothing. No one's getting rich off this shit. Nobody. Everyone's trying to have a good time, trying to put something out there that people like, borderline dig, and maybe, just maybe, talk to some, like, cool fringe people you wouldn't normally talk to. When I watched that 2-minute 30 promo for my 30th, I have easily watched this. This is not self-indulgent or anything. I mean this to be endearing.
No, have your moment.
I've easily watched it over the past 48 hours 100 times. Because when I watch it, I still cannot comprehend all the different people that I've reached out to. And every single one, the concept, the idea behind the podcast was a me and the wife thing. But God damn it, everything mechanically, everything structurally, we're on iTunes because of him. John, I cannot thank you enough. I mean, a shirt, some drinks. Believe me, buddy, if we go any place with this, your ticket's punched.
That's beautiful, Shawn.
Yeah.
John, I'd like to say, cheers, brother.
Yeah, yeah. And here's the thing most people don't realize. So our show's producer and I graduated high school together.
Lovely.
We lost touch for years. years. And all of a sudden, I found him on a local cable channel in Asheville, North Carolina. And he was doing his own show, doing his own thing. And then he moved back to our hometown. And that's when I started checking out his original podcast, Pleasure Saucer Podcast. That was the show I believe he had on that local channel. And I said, how do I do this? How do I do this? And his stuff has undergone iterations since then. And mine has just kind of done its thing. And honest to God, I would not have been able to do a single bit of it without him. So, John, I mean it from the bottom of my nuts, man. Thank you.
John, I mean it. Well, I can't really say the same.
Awkward. It's a little
awkward. So you're saying to me that you need a partner. You need a partner in crime with this. Is that what I'm understanding here when it comes to having a proper podcast?
What I would coach you and anybody listening, I think we might actually title this one, Podcast Starters, Podcast 101. If you've got the tech knowledge, absolutely. I thought I did. I thought I was good. And then when the topic of, hey, can we put it to iTunes came around, and I thought, oh, sure, I'll figure this out. I had about 5 seconds, and I was like, all right, John, I love you dearly. Can you do this? Can you help me? Can you? And so he registered a subdomain off his domain, and I mean, literally, quite literally, like I do my 3-year-old son. He's wiping my ass. He's taking care of me. I like to think that the steady stream of like good programming kind of keeps him engaged. I hope it does, but man, he could cut at any point, and I would be up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. So
perfect. So you do need a partner in crime.
I do personally.
Yeah,
totally.
No, it's important. I think it's important to have for sure. We talked about that when we first, chit-chatted about all of this. I mean, my podcast is really, you see what I'm doing here? Do you see how this is happening?
I'm well aware. I'm allowing it to happen. So go ahead.
I knew you would be. Do you need to go grab that beer or what? Not yet, or are we good?
You blew that out of the water, didn't you? No, now I'm going to make you wait for it.
I think for me, I love drinking wine. Wine is more of a passion for me, and collecting really nice bottles, and I'm learning the ropes about the wine world. One day I'd like to have my own wine bar. That's a whole other story that maybe we'll talk about in the future.
Wait a minute, wine bar or winery?
Wine bar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go with the talking to strangers thing as well, So for me, and it was something that I was really, really uncovering when I was in New York, and I was working in PR and marketing, and I helped create this technology company.
Hey, speaking of the beer, vamp a little bit.
Very good. So I was creating this technology company with a brilliant CEO who's a former veteran in that world, right, an entrepreneur. And we teamed up together, and we just tried to bring this vision to life, right? So with that being said, as time went on, 4 years later, boom, I said to myself, okay, I need to spread my wings and fly. This has been a great run. Now I think it's time to break into the wine world. And so I've slowly but surely been dipping my toes into researching more about wine. And, now that I've been back in Virginia, there's a whole world of wine out there to explore. I believe there's like 240 wineries, if not more. I mean, we have Trump Winery. So, that's a winner. If not, Barboursville. I mean, there's just so many to mention that I've been to a lot of them, but I'd love to explore some more. And you take a road trip, jump in the car with your boyfriend, your friends, and, just go wine tasting. So for me, it's more of a passion project. I'm so talking right now while you're drinking beer, and I love it. Let me just have a sip of my wine while I'm doing this. Today I'm drinking a Malbec that's very earthy. No, but seriously, it's been one of those situations where we should have a laugh track too, a clap track and a laugh track. It's been a situation where I've said to myself, I love wine. I want to integrate wine. How does everyone get a little happy? They get, they get a little saucy. when they've had a couple of drinks and they can sit back, relax, and talk and just chat. So that's how this podcast came to fruition. And then I've just always kind of been a funny girl, and I don't really take myself too seriously. So all my friends were like, you should do a podcast, or you should be doing this or that. And I was like, you guys, seriously? And now we're full circle. Did you grab your beer?
My God, how'd you hear that? How'd you hear that? How'd you hear me sitting down? Am I that fat?
I seriously just gave gems while we were on the phone, Shawn. It was brilliant, really.
Gems of info, like
John will have to rewind that for you. I don't think any editing is needed.
No, I can handle that, and I could scrub back right now and listen to it in my one ear. But do I want to?
Not right now.
Oh, really? Go on.
You know what I was saying, though, in all sincerity, is I think it's kind of one of those things where you need to merge the two. You need to merge personality with vino. So this is where I'm at with you, where I'm like, what do we do? What do I need to bring to light? Does it need to be strange and weird and really funny, where I'm talking to a lot of people and it gets a little, irreverent? Or do I just need to sit down, have drinks with friends and strangers and just talk?
Yeah.
And then build from there. I mean, what do you think?
The other thing, too, that I find makes a good setup, I mean, whether it be professionally, or, casually like the show, one part personality, one part functionality. And I mean, mind you, John can whip an episode of Cinematic Pig's Feet like nobody else. But at the same time, he's got the functionality to it. I've got some functionality to it. And again, I carry the personality. So you've got to have a good balance there, whether or not they be friends, strangers, or otherwise.
Okay. So you're saying I need to whip up some proper questions that you haven't asked me yet?
That could happen. You could borrow my script. I don't know that it's going to roll for yours, but if you ever have a chef on your show, man, you're set. It's no worries.
So, what do you think the method to the madness is? When you first created the podcast, I know you and your wife are like, I love food. I want to talk about things that make me happy when it comes to the cooking world, and then it just grew from there. Do you think that it grew from there because you grew from there as an interviewer as well?
I can definitely say if I listen to episodes 1 through 5, maybe even 1 through 10, excluding my wife's, I cringe. Like, I can't listen to my own shit. I'll be honest.
It's weird, right?
30 episodes, I can't do it. I could never do it in high school when I was in theater. I can't watch my own shit. I can't listen to it. What I do know is that the flow of the show, and you had mentioned being starstruck before, and this is not to...
I mean, it was Andy Cohen. It wasn't Meryl Streep.
Yeah,
so
this is not to sidestep. Yeah, but at the same time, starstruck is relative. When I had Dakota Weiss on my first episode, I was beside myself because I remember watching her on the show and being like, dude, she's awesome. She's kick-ass. What do I talk to her about? And if you listen to that episode number 1, I'm horrified most of the way through. Like, horrified in a really good way. Now, like, since then, I tag her in everything with the podcast that I can. I'm actually friends with her mom on Facebook, who was doing some kids' books, who, because I was an English teacher, I was able to copy edit some of it. Like, it really worked out cool. But I was definitely, man, episode 1 was Dakota. 2 is Chris Ganneberger, a friend of mine. 3 was... Natalie Slater from BaconDestroy.com. Like, she's one of the coolest vegans in the world, and if you know me, like that's a huge title. She was on Cupcake Wars as a vegan. Do that math. and we talked about it, and I actually bought a bag of kale chips for the show that I ate through the interview.
Yummy.
Just to let her know, like, hey, I'm here for it. And I was starstruck by her.
But this is your world. This is your realm. This is what you love to do. So of course, I mean, of course, it would tip your hat.
Yeah,
and that's probably.
And I don't think I've gotten any less starstruck at all, but I think I've gotten a lot more in control of it. Like, okay, let's be fair here. 25, Ilan, host of Knife Fight, winner of season 2 Top Chef. I was nervous at the prospect of it, and I talked him up for a good 3 months leading up to it. Mm-hmm. And I had actually talked him up the year before at the end of season 3 of Knife Fight, and he goes, we're filming for season 4 now. When we're done, I'll hit you up. True to his word, man. Hits me up. And mind you, it took 3 months and a lot of reschedules. And the one morning, we're just both like, hey, can you do it now? Yeah, I can. Can you? Yeah. And here we are, 2 dads on the phone, talking about, I'm like, yeah, I just dropped my 2-year-old off at preschool. He's like, I just drove my kid to school. Yeah, I was listening to DMX. The other parents didn't like it. I'm like, Oh my God. Because I have metal playing in the car a lot when I get out of preschool. I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. These guys are amazing. I will die trying to eat at the restaurants, meet up with them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But, wow, it's a person. And so I was just thinking of this the other day. My trophy moment where I went, all right, chill out, was 30 with Chef Neil Fraser, who, I mean, if you know who that is, Top Chef Masters, Iron Chef America,
it's a big one.
5-6 different restaurants / establishments in the California area. Yeah, he is honestly, to me anyway, one of the main reasons I watch Top Chef Masters. And then to see him this season in California, obviously they're out in Cali. They did the beefsteak thing. I actually just commented to him. I said, so do you think the podcast shirt will make an appearance at Beefsteak 5? Because that's what he's doing right now. And I'm like, wow, okay. But if you listen to that interview, at 30, I honest to God believe episode 30 was the most comfortable I became with talking to these icons. And I truly believe them to be icons, but I can see them as icons, and I can also be somewhat chill about it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so you want to keep the I'm in my garage factor.
The whole Mark Maron, yeah.
Right, without getting to, you really just want to sit down and have these conversations with these people, because you walk away from it probably really gaining a lot as well, don't you think?
There is not an interview that I've done, present interview included, that I'm not going to hang up. I have this ritual. I'm sitting in my home office right now. I hang up the Skype call. It tells me it finished recording. I rename the file. I drop it in the appropriate guest folder. I take my headphones off. I put them down on the desktop. I shake my head and go, damn. Like, that was good.
Yeah.
Like, that was fun. And I've never not had that moment.
You've never not had that moment, seriously.
No, because, and I think it's the acting background where if I feel an interview steering left, I pull right a little bit. If it's going right, I pull left.
Mm-hmm. You know how to navigate it.
I've never had an interview in the history of this show. Nikki Cascone. Do you remember Nikki? Chef Nikki from season... I should know this.
You really should know this. Google it real quick.
Oh, Jesus, come on. We're talking about 30 episodes, not 3 kids.
Get back in your repertoire there.
Yeah, my repertoire. They're not even going to give the season she was on. Yeah, it was the same season as Tall Day, so that was 3?
Episode 3.
Not
Major
episode
throwback.
3. Season 3.
Season 3.
Because Dale Tall Day was 3 or 4. I'm just going to go into my cover sheet. This is why I keep cover sheets, folks. That's another thing. If you have a
There
podcast.
it is. See? Do you see that little tidbit I just got right there?
Documentation.
Cover sheets.
Let's see. 4. Season 4. So,
Nikki.
yeah, she was from season 4, and she was episode number 9.
Uh-huh.
And I shit you not, we had 4 separate sound files for her interview. Because the first night, she was sick, and we recorded once.
Oh.
She hung up during like a coughing fit. Called her back, tried to grab more audio.
Oh.
Didn't work. So the next night, we record part 3. My shit shuts down here. I forget if it was a power outage or just network. And then I have to call her back. So it's like, oh my God! So...
You just never know what's going to happen. You just have to roll.
You
yeah.
don't. You have to be aware. But I can even look at that and say, that's a great story and a great episode. That's not a bad time. That's not... No. There's nobody. One of my favorites of all time. Aside from my wife interviewing me, which, I mean, go by default.
Adorable.
By
yes.
default. It's probably Betty Fraser, season 2, episode 15 for my show.
Nice.
We just shot the shit. It seemed like eternally. I believe I haven't gotten the post-production for episode 31 with Keith Breedlove from the Culinary Cruiser food truck. He's close. And he actually asked me during the interview, he's like, is this the longest interview you've ever had? And I'm looking at the clock, I'm like, oh, God damn it, it's close. But Betty is up there as one of the just...
She's a keeper?
Oh my God, most iconic. And then I name dropped Betty to Keith, and Keith's like, oh my God, we did a pilot together. So I guess they did some kind of food channel pilot together, and I'm like,
I love it.
This world is closing in on me here. So,
right.
So no, there's never been a bad experience. I think you personally make that. It's like you go to school, you learn what you want to learn. You do a podcast. If you want them to all be good episodes, they can all be good episodes.
Do they all have to be really funny though? Because I don't feel like we're being as funny as we potentially, you and my personality, could be.
Yeah.
So
no.
You know, it's more kind of, it feels a little 101 more than it feels like we could really just go there. But I think that's what's important about this, right? I'm supposed to be gaining a little bit of, you're dropping some knowledge bombs on me.
Periodically. But there again, not all of the interviews I've had are funny, cute, or otherwise. And especially when I get to the end and I ask them, Ideal Last Supper, there has not been a guest that doesn't take a step back and go, oh, shit. What do I say to this? Because that's a heavy question. That shows the respect across the board.
Oh, sure.
For the content, for the topic. And so, but again, if you're going to do a show that's more just like social, hangout, topical, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Fuck it. I don't think you have to, play this straight too much. I think you're fine.
What do you think about going to the different wineries and talking to the sommeliers? And, some of those guys and girls are really interesting cats, you know?
Here's some awesomeness right here. So episode 20, my wife interviewed me in Mexico in our timeshare. So what was I missing?
What part of Mexico?
Puerto Vallarta, far coast, west coast.
Ooh la la, okay.
Super nice, super great.
Yep.
But did I have a studio with me? No. Did I have a mic with me? No. Did I have headphones with me? Do you know that we recorded that episode on an iPhone.
Beautiful. Why not? Yeah.
Downloaded the audio, sweetened it a little bit, added the intro, added all that, and there it was. So
Okay.
if you're thinking about going out into these places and doing these winery interviews, dude, take your phone with you. We live in such a sweet age to do such a thing. Yeah, I mean that there's no question. I think that's brilliant. I think going out into the field and doing it. I don't know if it's going to be 40 or 50 or whatever. I want to have a live panel down here in Bloomsburg at Seasons on Main with our dear friend Chef Gary, and getting a bunch of local guests, maybe even flying in a couple who weren't local, to have just a panel show and a charity dinner for fill in the blank. You know, that's yet to be determined. But, you know, and obviously we're not going to be, you know, recording that up on iPhones, but like doing it on site is an awesome idea. You know, and that could be your unique niche.
There's something about that. I like kind of taking it to the location.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know?
I mean, it's a little more honest. It's a little more immediate. You're there, you know? But there again, you know, the things you run into are, you know, well, you don't have the planning. Well, you don't have the preparation. You know, I usually schedule my stuff out about, you know, a week or two in advance, so I can write my copy. I can get it right.
Okay.
But if you're looking for more off the cuff, it all depends on what you want.
So where do you think the fine line of the quote unquote magic happens when you have, like, say, someone like myself who's traveled, who could call herself a foodie and loves you know, a good libation or two, and can talk to people and just go up to random people and have these great conversations, and, you know, has a nice inner network. What do you say the fine line from someone who's just talking or someone who's really going to have substance in their podcast? You know, does there need to be a real niche? Does there need to be something that you're going for? Or can you just really just go out there and just do it?
No, it's your job as a host to make that guest who might just be substance-less have it. And that's where you coach
like
it
tonight,
out of them.
like tonight, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we're not going off any kind of set questions at this point. There have been
Shawn,
guests...
are you calling me substanceless?
Nah,
I mean, I'm getting a little bit...
I want you to say that word again, and we'll be in good shape. There have been guests who have expressed severe anxiety about the interview to me.
Oh,
wow. I'm like,
wow.
oh my God, dude, chill. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. And when we first start, man, it's ice cubes. Ice cubes with arms and legs.
Ouch.
And I'm like, all right, come on. I'm going to walk you through this. By the end of it, they're having a good time. That's your job. That's why you take the helm. That's why you put the piece of paper in front of you, read about your guest, talk them through it, use your talking points to help. That's why you have all that. That's why you're the host. That's why you get the thumbs up or thumbs down, because it's your job to talk them through it.
Love it. So how much of what you have on your paper have you actually asked so far?
I have jack and shit that I've asked you thus far. But I honestly, and I will post a picture of this. I will post a picture of this with the episode. I just wrote in big letters on my sheet, why have questions, and a question mark over top of the interview. Hashtag good times underneath it. If you think I'm shitting you, you know what? Watch this. On air, interactivity. We're going to change that. Fill the space. Come on. What are you doing?
What do you got?
No, that's you. I'm telling you. Fill the space.
Oh, me? Fill the space.
Yeah.
So, should we talk about the New Hampshire primary? I mean, what?
All right. This isn't a political show. Knock it off. All right. Well, look at your Facebook Messenger. So.
Okay, doing it. Shawn sent a photo. He sure did. Let's see this photo, guys. What is happening here? You literally said Why have questions?
Underneath it, hashtag good times.
Hashtag good times.
I seriously, and for everybody listening,
see some of your questions. Can I make this a little? Oh, tell me where you grew up. Okay, we went there. As a young one,
don't you be reading my copy on air? Knock it off. I literally have a folder on my desk of every copy with my notes from episode 4 to now. I didn't keep the first 3 for some reason, but I have literally every episode recorded with my red pencil.
That's kind of beautiful.
It's awesome, and I think when we do the book thing... Oh, spoiler alert, there you go. I'm going to put the whole little collection of pictures in the middle of the interview sheets from the people whose interviews we transcribed.
Beautiful. I love that. I will not leave this interview without you asking... See, this is how quick I am. I'd like you to ask 16... Which I think is such a profound question.
I'm getting there. But we're kind of giving you an on-air tryout here. I think down the road, the funny thing is, I have a sommelier and a vintner in the wings, and I think it might behoove me to have a co-host on those.
Should we tag team? I think we should tag team.
Co-host.
I feel like our chemistry is palpable. I want your wife's approval. She'll check. She'll be like, "This girl is awesome," and this could be a really great wine. Shawn, I still haven't come up with a name yet. What to do? Although I will say, should I say it here? I'm going to say it here. Mm-hmm. Entwined. It kind of got me going a little bit. I like that one.
Was that one I gave you?
That was a little nugget. It was a little gem. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I don't love it so much now. I'm going to be honest.
Why? I did a consensus, and I got... Okay, so you remember I said I like unwind, right, with the capital W-I-N-E. Blah, blah. And then entwined. Entwined seems a little bit sexier. It's got a little, you're entwining. We're going to have a conversation. The expectation is being set, no? Right?
It is.
To what? Entwined.
Entwined.
It's too something,
nasal.
Right?
It's too nasal. It's too up high in the nasal cavity when you say that name.
You loved it, though. I mean, actually, it was like kind of one of the first things that came to mind. Entwined was one of the first things that came to mind.
I see what you did there. It rhymes. Yeah, I'm not completely opposed to it. I think something...
What is a good wine name podcast? Let's hash this out for like a 30-second spot. What do you think would be good? Let's throw out some names.
All right.
Entwined.
Wait a minute. Hang on a minute. I'm starting a timer.
Let's do it.
All right. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Unwind. Entwined. Remind. That has nothing to do with it. Keep going. Come on. Hold on. We both don't have anything. This is not good. Oh, I got one. Are you ready for this? How to get a guy in 30 texts. Now that is the podcast I want to listen to.
Wow.
How to get a guy in 30,000 texts. That's brilliant. I mean, did you feel a little something there?
No, not much. Because I'm not looking for a guy, so that's a little weird.
Imagine me just being me talking to people about how to get a guy in 30,000 texts with wine. You see how you close it out there? How about K. Rose knows? Lame.
No, God.
No, that's so bad, right?
Grapevine.
Grapevine.
How about the grapevine?
That might be...
Parentheses, heard it through.
This is why, Shawn, you are the Coarse Grind. This is it.
You're welcome.
That's pretty good, my friend. Kind of like it.
There's something to, I was thinking like ferment, that kind of thing, but
yeah.
Ferment gets a little ugly. It sounds a little muddy in your mouth, so.
Do you think it's all in the name? So why don't...
I don't know that the Coarse Grind is a brilliant name.
I think it's great. I think it suits your fancy perfectly.
I think it's all right.
How did that come to fruition?
My wife. She's brilliant.
Women, we are genius.
Now, I just gave you your name, and you're like, oh, women, we're brilliant. Okay, fair enough. Got it.
But I kind of was feeding you, like I was dangling the carrot.
You weren't.
You was dangling the carrot.
You admitted you don't even cook. All right, moving on. See what I did there? Vote for Trump, said no one.
Wow, bringing it back to the political.
This is going downhill fast.
It really
Hey,
is.
look at the sheet. Look at the sheet, goddammit.
I'm liking question 16. I'm also liking if there was the 14's pretty good. Deserted island.
Are you ordering Chinese food or are you reading the sheet?
Can I have the Kung Pao with a side of 15, please?
Yeah, no. Damn it.
All right, I'll let you get your show back.
So,
Jeez.
No. I kind of like letting the rails come off every once in a while. But,
I would hope you would.
So, all right. Let's land your whole podcast thing here. You want to do one. You want to have it centered around wine in general, the beauty behind it, the fruit of the vine itself,
Absolutely.
the people behind the fruit of the vine, and then the people in front of the fruit of the vine.
Yes.
See what I did there? There's two angles to it. The people behind it and the people in front of it. And combining them in an interview. You've got two people you bring. They've got two people they bring.
Exactly. I mean, I think that's a recipe for something
I'm thinking that's
brilliant.
a show, dude. That's
a show.
Easy. That's easy stuff right there.
Yeah.
I mean, that feeds itself.
I love it.
I mean,
I love every second of it. Now, it's the evolution of how that kind of grows into what it grows into.
Yeah, like I said, that first night, like the video says, it was dinner. I was messaging Dakota Weiss at Seasons on Main in Bloomsburg 2 years ago. And I realized it was going to hit, and I had this idea, and it was based on Melanie Dunea, My Last Supper, and The Next Course. But I didn't know much beyond that. And I remember writing the questions. I have not changed these in 32 episodes.
Really?
They have not changed, ever.
John, now's the time. John, now's the time.
He's not changing shit. This ain't his show. John Robertson, this is not your show.
He laughed a little bit.
Charlie Murphy. No, I've never changed them, and I remember writing them and being
So
this sounds good.
How did you come up with those questions? I'm looking at them. They're proper questions. How did you come up with those?
Inspired by Melanie Dunea, but also focusing on, like, the chef living. That kind of helps when they're alive and they're not dying. That gives them direction.
that definitely helps, yes.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing. So, I focused more on that. I always want to know... from my limited kitchen experience, are all chefs / kitchen managers as bad as the ones that I worked for? Are they all the Gordon Ramsays? And you know what's funny? A lot of them who...
Did you work for Gordon?
I didn't work for Gordon. No, God, no. I worked for somebody who thought he was Gordon and told me he was going to, quote, split my spine with a fucking 7-inch.
Lovely.
At which point, I tilted my chin downwards about 45 degrees at his short stature and said, try it. Never happened, but, there's always going to be that in the kitchen, I think. But at the same time, one of the greatest things that I found from the show is that it's not as common as you're led to believe.
Okay.
And I think that's a really good thing, and I think that's an important thing to show the dining community. Like, it's not Gordon Ramsay in the kitchen. It's not Marco Pierre White. It's not, getting strung up, getting a cigarette put out on your forehead because you burned a piece of... It's not. It's not. You are told... What's that?
Isn't it about really achieving perfection, though, in its own right? In some shape or form. It doesn't have to be as aggressive as that. But
I think it depends on who you talk to. Not to, again, harp on / name drop episode 30 Neil Fraser, Chef Neil Fraser. But he gave me his mantra that when he goes to therapy or meditates or whatever, he says, he's like, I have a mantra that I repeat to myself. And he said, it's not if I'm going to be disappointed, but when. And I heard that, and I'll never forget that, like, I've never had a deep moment on the show before.
Is this it right now?
No.
Again?
No. I mean, before that point that I asked him that, and then, he came back with it.
But that's almost depressing, though, isn't it? In a weird
real.
way. It's enlightening, but it's depressing.
It's enlightening, and it's
Which
honest.
is good.
We're going to be disappointed. It's cool. Learn how to function disappointed.
Right.
Don't learn how to react to being disappointed. And I'm like, wow, that's good. So
that's great advice, actually. If you think about it, yeah.
So, I mean, we have to get away from this culture. I mean, what was it? Not even a week ago, Michelin star chef committed suicide. And here's the food community going, oh, well, par for the course. What the fuck? If that were happening in any other profession, we'd have an investigation into it. We'd have people doing studies on it. Oh, but because it's food, oh, well, let's just let it happen because perfection is key. What?
But isn't that kind of bizarre? Let's talk about that for a second. That food is life. So food really does represent all of that. It's its dark moments. It's its beauty. It's art in so many ways.
It's an absolute obsession.
Yeah.
To some, and when you get that deep into it, it's it's the same as an artist obsessing over a sculpture or a painting or something. Here's the difference: that sculpture happens once it gets put up on display. That plate has to happen 200 times a night, 7 nights a week.
Yeah,
that's not sustainable. We need to get away from that completely.
Have you talked to any of the chefs about that? Have you ever really just had this raw moment with a chef? I mean, I'm not a professional chef, so where you can say that moment that you just had right there.
Yeah.
Because I wonder if they think about that, a lot, often.
Oh, fuck. I mean, I don't think they think about it consciously as much as they should, but I'm certain that they think about it while they sleep. And that's sad. Like,
it's embedded, right?
Yeah, but I mean, it's the nature of food, and these people that give their lives to it, these heroes in my eyes, to an extent. I'm not saying that they're taking bullets or anything crazy like that, but I mean, people don't realize chef, it's a 7-day-a-week gig. You can't stop thinking about it. You have shit in your walk-in that's going to spoil within a week, maybe 2 if you're lucky. You've got to be cycling out. We, work-wise, career-wise, have projects that we can, put on the shelf for now. Every day of a restaurant is like opening day.
Right.
Every day of a restaurant needs to be as profitable as the best day.
But that's what turns me on most about it, and I would imagine that's what turns on the chefs most about it. It's that constant new feeling of what's going to happen, but delivering something. Before I became an executive, Shawn, for me it was really this industry. It was the restaurant industry that just kind of rang my bell so much. It was insanity. It was chaos. It was fun. It was a family. All of that, It's a brilliant intensity that you're not going to find in any other industry. And I think it was actually Marco Pierre White in his autobiography, I'm not sure, who said the greatest thing about what I did was the different people that were there every night and pleasing them in the same way that the people the night before were pleased. Wow. I mean, that's heavy shit. Everyone comes in with their own specificities, their own
benchmarks that they consider, these guys have to shoot right up the middle and gun for it. So I don't know. I mean, it's a heavy industry. It's but it's a happy one too, because nothing is better than being in a restaurant, pulling that last ticket down, having, whoever else clean up the kitchen, walking out, having a drink in that dining room. I mean, you survive a war every night.
Yeah, that's a moment every night. Yeah.
Bourdain says it. I don't want to be a one-trick pony with Bourdain.
But who doesn't love him? I mean, Kitchen Confidential. I mean, it all started there, and it grew.
It's brilliant. Yeah. You can't be on the line, survive that, and not come out of there feeling like you dodged a bullet. So,
look at where we went. Look at where we went with this. Look at us.
I think you got a podcast to run with, kid.
Wow, Shawn Rosler approved.
See?
I love.
It's called therapy, kid. That's called therapy. That's an hour. That's at least $500.
Well, your bill's in the mail.
Oh, good.
I think it's
my check better be too. But I mean, who's counting?
Shawn, right. I had a lot of fun doing this.
Yeah. I did the same, and not to hang
Let's
up.
wrap
but
it up.
I think that's
I've got to go drink wine with some cooler people. I mean, John? Did you like that?
John needs to drink some wine with us too one night.
Absolutely.
I think that'd be a good
We will
time.
do this in the future. I'm just going to invite myself to co-host with you at some point. I think we've got some magic happening.
I don't think you're going to have to invite yourself. I think we'll take care of that. And I think given the wine topics coming up shortly, spoiler, I think we'll be in good shape. So I think that's a good place to park it. And I think folks listening, this is podcast hashing out 101. If you think you have an idea, you think you want to do this, freaking do it. Just do it.
Do it.
Just do it. It's the easiest it's ever been, and just run with it. If you love it, do it.
I came to you with so many technical questions in the beginning when we first were chatting, and you said, Kristina, there's just so much at your disposal that you don't even have to be worrying about all of the technical side of the coin.
Remember all the programs you were telling me? You're like, I have this, I have that, I have this, I have that. Right now, people listening, if you're thinking, I don't care if it's a video game podcast, if it's a cooking podcast, if it's a smoking podcast, how to pack your bong 101, I don't care. Here's the thing you need. You need Skype, you need a microphone, you need a headset. That's it. It's not that hard.
Can you ask me question 16 so it feels like a legitimate close to this?
All right. Hang on a minute.
I think people want to hear this.
Pause for a refresh. I'm going to ask you 3 questions off the sheet.
Oh,
right?
3? Ooh.
Yeah, 3. You don't know what's coming. All right. I am standing in your kitchen. What music do I hear?
Ooh, it can be anything from opera, Italian. I mean, I'm Italian. It has to be something poetic and insane. Or it can be hip hop. I'm not going to give you any specifics. There has to be a full broad stroke on that one because my taste is very eclectic. It's very eclectic.
Duly noted. That's fine. How often do you cook for friends?
I have friends over a lot. I love to entertain. So what happens is I have them come over, Shawn, and I'm pouring the wine, and they end up manning the kitchen.
See, that's a cop-out. All right, kill that question. Because here's the thing. If you're doing that, you've never been in the shit, as we call it.
Oh, come on.
I say as we call it. I'm sorry, every other guest that's been on here before. I consider myself in the shit when I'm in the kitchen and I'm falling behind a little bit.
Yeah.
That's in the shit. So, that's the...
I've been in the shit before.
That's the how's your mouth in the kitchen question. And mine is absolutely... If my kids are around, it's PG, it's friendly, it's everything.
Right,
but,
of course.
Dude, if the kids aren't around, it's NC-17.
It gets a little dirty in the kitchen. It gets a little dirty.
You have never heard a string of MFers come out of any human's mouth. If I drop one thing, bad times. All right.
What's the drink of choice in your kitchen? Is it wine? Is it beer? Is it scotch?
What am I doing?
What's happening?
What am I doing in the kitchen?
Well, okay, let's say we're just having a rando night where we're cooking a romantic dinner versus having. Okay, let's do a carbonara, basic carbonara.
Okay. I mean, that's going to be either the dry red out of the box, or
out of the box. Okay.
Oh! Now, hey! Hang on.
No, I know. I'm not going to get snooty.
Hang on, just a minute. Now, the box revolution has come full circle. We need to be doing that because glass, cork, all these things.
Yeah.
They're bad. Okay. Boda Box does a beautiful Zinfandel.
Beautiful
Zinfandel. I'm not talking white. Jesus Christ. If you think that,
Oh!
hang up, stop listening. Beautiful Zinfandel, beautiful Malbec. What else have we had from them? Pinot Noir, actually.
Oh, I love it. Okay.
Yeah. So box wine is no longer the, redheaded stepchild, if you will. Mm-hmm. It is now the reasonable alternative to save our planet. So
perfect.
Gotta go with box wine. Now, mind you, if I'm not drinking wine out of the box, carbonara was the plate for the night. Yes.
Yes, that is correct.
I might actually splurge on a case of Peroni.
Okay.
Just
all right.
Just kind of go along with it, just because
now we're talking.
I like the constant hydration of the European green glass beers. Mm. It's good, it's comfortable, it's not blowing anybody out of the water.
Peroni is one of my favorite beers, but
amazing.
I'm Italiano, so it's like a paisan, it's in the blood. But it just is so good. It's a good go-to all day, every day, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to do beer. Yeah.
God, yeah, no question.
Are you a crafty guy? Are you and the wife a crafty beer kind of
I brew
family?
My own, actually, on top of being a crafty
really?
guy.
That must have been a podcast.
I just finished doing my dark chocolate Irish Stout. So
very nice.
It's shelf aging now. I tried one last week. It was very metallic, which means it needs more time. So, but I couldn't open it at one week. So, all right.
Okay, third question.
Here's for you. No. Second question, because you dodged the second one.
Did I really?
Yeah, because you'd never been in this shit before. You're passing off your kitchen duties on other people, slacker. You're going to be stranded on a deserted island. Only take 3 food type items with you. What would they be and why?
Well, to quote Chelsea Handler, hello, vodka. It's me calling, or something to that effect, right? Mm-hmm. So I would bring a delicious bottle of Grey Goose, because who doesn't need a dirty martini on an island when you're stranded? I mean, come on. The other accoutrements, let's not worry about that, but let's bring the vodka into it. I would bring, this might sound kind of cliche, but I'd like some lobster in that joint.
Okay.
Right? I mean, lobster's kind of my favorite dish. If I had to have that moment where they said, "What's your last meal?" it would be lobster. Mm-hmm. And the third would probably be my favorite of all time, garlic. Yeah. So how do you get vodka, lobster, and garlic saucing and cooking in the mix? But
shooter.
I mean, I don't know.
Now, wait a minute. That's a ceviche if there's a lemon tree on the island.
There it is. See? You can't go wrong.
You're done.
Boom.
You're fine.
Boom. There it is.
Good.
Perfect.
You're
Perfection.
Good.
All right. Thanks for not asking 16. I like that you won against...
Considering that's still the second question, I have a third one to go here. Oh, my goodness. How's that one doing? Now I'm going to ask 4 and just be a jerk about it. Let's go to the Melanie Dunea question. Tomorrow, You know you're getting your ticket checked. You're getting it punched. You're gone. You're done.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's it. What would your last supper be today, and why? Who would be there? What would you eat? What would you drink? And go.
Okay. All right. Here it is, Shawn, and I'm going to give it to you so street. So street. I'm shooting right from the hip. Mm-hmm. Oprah. And I'm going to tell you why. So don't laugh. Opes would be there. Tina Fey would be there. And the third, I'm going to have 4 people at my last supper.
Okay.
The third would be my mom. Uh-huh. And the fourth would be my fella, my guy. And I'll tell you why Oprah would be there. Because, give me a break. Who doesn't want Oprah to come at their dinner party? She's going to have something flown in. She's going to be bringing something that's going to be fabulous. It's Opes. I mean, come on. Right?
You're getting a tombstone. You're getting a tombstone. Everyone's getting a tombstone.
Exactly.
What are you going to get there?
Exactly.
All right, so guest list aside, what are you eating?
We're eating. Well, I wanted to get to why I would pick the others.
Oh,
well,
I forgot about the others.
Calm down. Tina, because she's just fun.
Yeah.
Tina, she's fun. She's funny. I mean, she'll keep everyone happy and in giggles. My mom, because my mom is like the coolest chick on the planet, and she's someone that I respect more than anyone in life, and she's just rad as hell, and you'd love her too, Shawn. Mm-hmm. And my guy, because he's a pretty special fella. So I think there would be a nice chemistry at that table. What we would be eating, lobster's kind of my jam. There's something about it. I love it always. Lobster roll, butter by itself, wow. Thrown in firecrackers. You can't really go wrong. I definitely would I'm not going to get too fancy on you. It's not going to be a situation where it would get surf and turfy. I think it would just be more surf. And I throw some, a really just delicious, authentic pasta dish in there. Super low key, olive oil, some angel hair, maybe linguine, with some nice garlic and basil, simple, and some fresh tomatoes. And there you have it. That's it.
I like it.
A poor man's pasta, my friend. Have you heard of that? Poor man's pasta.
Yes.
That's kind of the only way to go. Poor man's with a kick.
Right. I like it. Drink of choice?
Drink is always, without a doubt, a really earthy, just leathery red wine. Always.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. All right, let's go to 16. Food to you in a single word.
I'm going to close it out with one word because you have me a little saucy on the show.
Yeah.
So you didn't even ask the question, so people don't even know what we're talking about.
I just said food to you in a single word.
You did?
Yes.
See, I missed it.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Some people call it blacking out. I call it time travel. So.
I'm going to say one word, and I want John to kind of, in my mind, I envision John closing it out with like a reverb, like
Not going to happen, but go ahead.
Damn. So food for me in one single word would be life.
Yeah.
That's it. Period. Boom.
I think that's about 21 out of 32 episodes is life.
They said life?
Yeah.
Okay, good, because I've only listened to one out of 32 episodes.
Let's admitting it. Yeah, no, but I mean, I don't know that there is a better...
There really isn't.
Answer, because it is everything. It's all there. It's everything.
Is that, for you, what is it? I mean, truthfully, what's one word? Outside of life.
I forget actually what I said in my interview.
Okay. So that's good. So what do you
putting me on the spot now? What would it be?
Yeah.
Being.
Shawn Rosler, what is food in one single word to you?
Being.
Boom.
Being.
Done.
Because if you're not being, you need to be in that pocket. either cooking, thinking about it. Yeah. It's just
right?
being, it's almost like there's not a word for it.
There is, though.
Forget, I actually think I might have said being for 20, but...
You did? Alive, life.
Yeah, I mean, it all kind of centers around that, because without it, what are you? Nothing.
It's the thing that brings everyone together. It really is.
No, totally.
Well?
All right, dude. Well, listen, I normally do this big plug outro and everything like that, but
no plugs.
You don't have a show yet.
But guess what? In the future, there will be plugs.
There will be plugs. Hashtags, there will be plugs.
Hashtag, there will be plugs. Listen, I had a great time with you. This has been great. Yeah. And I appreciate the invite onto the show, Shawn. I just wanted to, explore where this would go with you. I don't think I'm actually going to do a podcast.
No,
so
now you think you're going to hang it up?
Yeah, I mean, throw in the towel, really.
Yeah, fuck it. It's done. You're out. Yeah. Well, hey, seriously.
So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you for burning my dreams. No, I really do hope on air that, this gives you that direction, that gives you, whatever it is you need to get going, and you get going hard.
100%.
I think you got it. So thank you again, Kristina.
Thank you, Shawn.
Have
a great night.
Yep, ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode number 32 of the Coarse Grind Podcast. With me this evening has been the wonderfully verbose Ms. Kristina Steward. Be sure to stay tuned, because likely sooner than later, we'll have information for her up-and-coming podcast as yet to be named. With me, as always, this evening has been my producer, Reverend Johnny Lamoria, a.k.a. Johnny Leland Robinson. Be sure to check out his podcast, Cinematic Pig's Feet. And next time, we're going to be making the trip back to Top Chef. Stay tuned, you won't want to miss it.